Welcome everybody to the monthly roundup for Unlock Protocol. So this is our big beginning of the month showcase. We want to make sure everybody stays up to date on everything that is happening in Unlock. So welcome, thanks for joining, and thanks for listening to the recording. And we will. I think people are probably going to keep popping in. So we'll maybe kill a little bit of time. We have a couple of timely things we have to get going at the beginning of the call for people who have to take off later on. But as soon as those people join, we will get to those items. Good to see Julian here. Thanks for joining us. How's everything going on your end?
Pretty good, thanks. Sorry about missing all of these the previous weeks, but between the time difference and the kids being on vacation last week, it was a bit of a pain. But I am now joining, and I'm excited to be here. And I have something to show. I mean, I guess we'll discuss. We'll chat more about this, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks. Glad that you could join us. I know it's always hard to fit everything in time, especially this time of year especially when you have kids. But even for me, it's I don't have kids, but I still get busy around this time of year. It's like springtime in the north half of the world, at least. And it's a time of new beginnings, new starts. I was just talking about my garden that I got going. Lots of new plants growing, so that's always fun. Stella, how are you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I'm very good. I have my lunch with me. So I'm a happy person. If there's food close by, I'm there's high chances I'm in a very good mood. So please keep on talking. I don't need to talk. I would just keep on eating instead.
Excellent. Well, that looked like quite the spread. So congratulations and enjoy that. Danny and Will, thanks for joining us. Glad to have you guys here. What's new on your guys' end? Anything exciting for either of you two? Crickets. Well, maybe they're not able to talk right now.
Not crickets, just preparing. Yeah, we're in the middle of a tree initiation right now with the Tree Gens Ambassador Program. Looks like we're going to have a few one-offs maybe on the Avalanche network. But we've already, Julian, I don't know if you got this update or not, but we're close to 40 educational certificates through Unlock app on base network so far. And the maximum amount there will ever be is 100. And how that's going to be spread across different networks still remains to be seen.
Cool.
Awesome. That's great progress. CC, welcome. Glad to have you with us.
Hi, GM to everyone.
So it sounds like we're waiting for AFO to join for solo updates.
Yeah, he said he was going to be in the first half an hour.
Okay. Well, I'll just start running through some of the DAO updates, and then when he gets here, then we can jump to that. So for governance activity, we have the Treasury prop recently passed, despite Julian voting no.
I mean, did Stella give the feedback or no?
Of course
Yeah.
I did. What do you take me for?
I was like, I mean, yes.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to do some testing, and that's the way it goes. But thankfully, that's why we're a DAO. We don't rely on any one particular action for moving us forward. So yeah, Treasury prop passed. Thanks everybody for joining that. So we will be executing the transaction on that at some point later today. We don't really need to advertise exactly when for obvious reasons, but that will be happening, and we will get the ETH transferred into USDC and back into the Treasury so that we can continue to operate the DAO. So that'll be exciting. The other governance prop, it's currently passing. It hasn't passed yet, so there still is time for everybody to rush in and shut it down if you need to. But the communication steward role for the Wayward Trigs is about to pass. So definitely get in there if you have something to say about that. Last moment of opportunity. And same thing for the retro funding that we had to redo from last time. We have it passing quorum now as well. Everybody's back from vacations and on the job, so we got retro funding for our content contributors approved. So that will be executing soon this week. And we also have the March and April payroll is live for voting. So we need to get that executed as well. Make sure you jump in there and get your votes on that so that we can get all the operations for this month pretty much wrapped up. So that's the governance updates. Next on the agenda is, we can jump to Metopia maybe while we wait for, I could talk about You Make Us, whichever one you prefer, Cece, before we get to Cello.
Yeah, sure. Well, during this last March, we were having the Metopia campaign. This is a campaign we had in a partnership with Metopia. This is a project that builds quests and engagement campaigns for people to learn anything during that quest and earn some tokens in the meantime, just because of fulfilling the quests. So those quests are active. It's like an active learning because people need to be completing the quests that are clear actions to do, like, I don't know, create a ticket, for example. So then people need to go through the whole learning process on how to set up a ticket using their Web3 wallet. So we had this, let me share my screen so you can check it out. This is a small table that we have made with all the team on the unlock posting. And as you can see, the amount of people engaging on the campaign were starting like from 8 people until 3,800 people that currently are active over there. So this is a really, really great campaign. And as you can see also here, bef uh, besides only that campaign, we correlate that with all what was happening on our website. So as you can see here, the Unlock website, the active users has also grown like 1,304%, which is a really great indicator, because here are also the countries that were actively using the protocol in different ways. And these are people that not only just visited the website, but also became active users by clicking the Connect Wallet button, clicking the create a ticket or create a membership, create a subscription. So those are becoming active users. So these indicators are showing us a really interesting metrics for China, Singapore, India, which are countries that we weren't like active promoting itself on those countries, but definitely they have found the tool and started using it on their benefit. So we were comparing this with also, as you will see here, the locks deployed on the different chains that we have. And also on those, you will see a really great engagement and participation and creation of locks, which means they are people creating smart contracts. And interestingly, the best chains that were having really good traction were Base, obviously Polygon, and some on Arbitrum too. But also, it's interesting to see small chains that we usually didn't have enough traction. But for example, Gnosis started to grow steadily, but very, very continuously. So that's something very, very interesting. And also, the same happens on the, I think, the keys. Yeah. This is just concentrating all those metrics, and also this was analyzed against our social media channels, which also have grown very interestingly on different times where we had these spikes of growth um, on users on Metopia. So we are having really nice engagement. People not only following us as just as a vanity metric, but also interacting with our content, responding, um, sending any other kind of comments. Which this is something that we haven't seen in a very long time. So that's nice. I think we are having a really good base to start thinking. So then, if this interaction continues, then what we can do is scale this learning process into maybe a little bit more detailed of a learning process, like what is a membership, how to make a hook with Unlock, and all those tools that right now are in a really good way for people to start integrating Unlock as part of their stack, but also continue using Unlock as their base tool for membership, subscriptions, tickets, and all that good stuff. Yes, Stella, please.
Yeah, I just think, it confirms something that we spoke about this morning in the marketing call, which is it wasn't really easy for us to figure out a marketing approach, right, that works together with someone else, be it like an influencer or an entity or a marketing company or whatever, that actually does work for us. And I feel, pains me almost to say, but I think we have found something that actually does work because it's engaging on a level that's educational, right? And so I've, I feel very similar as Ceci probably will tell you in a bit. I think maybe it's worth starting a second season with Metopia. The first season we did not have to pay really anything much for. We only, subsidized the token that they distributed as rewards. But we've also seen a really good increase in voter participation. I think I've never seen that much in Unlock, at least not during the time that I was here, which is amazing to see. I see also every week more people catch on to the fact that they need to self-delegate before they can actively vote. Because every time we put up a new proposal, I see some of the addresses coming back in, but this time not voting with 0, but actually voting with a few thousand tokens. So I think this seems to be a direction that we can actually explore more or do more in, because we tried a marketing company because everyone said, oh, we need a marketing company, you guys cannot do this by ourselves. It has not led to anything. The only good thing this had really led to is that we embedded Google Analytics, and now we can show these numbers, right? Because they prompted, I think, Julian at the time to embed the GA tag. So that was really good. But everything else, it was not amazing content that they did. It was good content, but not amazing. And, honestly, the engagement wasn't there, right? We saw the Google Analytics, it wasn't there. So then we tried working together with influencers who are more on an educational level. Awesome people individually, really like those guys from Rums. They're really nice, kind people, and they have really good intentions. But it wasn't working for us either. right? And so now we did this campaign because Stacey brought in Metopia. And honestly, I was very skeptical because, I've seen so many of these types of campaigns. I was like, I don't know. But then, the whole work started with like, oh, how do we design an educational campaign? I delivered some links to this as well. I was like, okay, they seem to approach this very differently. Maybe this is going to be interesting. But then it had a very slow start. I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong, but then it picked up eventually. And now I'm thinking like maybe we should explore this direction a little bit more because it actually leads to results, and like a lot of the things that we did try, they haven't really led to results, right? So
Mm.
just wanted to add those few thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Stella. Yes, agree very much. I think we have tried many different kind of scopes, and that's the thing, try and assess. And I think this could be a really good way also to come up with a new season. We have on our marketing budget. We had I think program 2000 something for an influencer marketing campaign, which we were at that time considering like a new season. But considering these numbers and these results, is very clear that in fact this is a better way to approach people to engage into the protocol, and hopefully also to give us some numbers into this, which is something that we want, like
Mm.
seeing numbers growing on the chains. And after that, obviously it would be better if those numbers were of paid memberships, which is something that we are looking into. So I think we can consider that for the new season, to make paid memberships, paid tickets, paid subscriptions as a learning process into Metopia.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Awesome.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for sharing all the numbers and analytics. It's awesome to have that kind of data to look at. It's really helpful for, just understanding the impact that the effort that you guys have put in. Because I know it's been a lot of work to get to this point. So it's nice to be able to actually see tangible results on how it's panning out. Glad to see that numbers are going up. I do agree that figuring out the next step, if we are going to start putting down money for future campaigns, I think solving that question that Cece just brought up of paid locks, I think is a key growth factor for this campaign. How do we push this into getting paid locks? So if we're paying money, we're actually reaching people who are using this, to produce paying locks. That'll be a massive step forward. Stella.
I also think like finding the right timing for starting this next campaign. So, for example, right now we're working on the new index website, right? And we're working on integrating something that Anupa and Ceci came up with, which is called Protocol as a Service, which would be essentially a service that, people in the DAO can offer. Again, details are not figured out yet, right? 3 level of services. So one is like, self-serve. You use the protocol as it is, free, like it is right now. No questions asked, no interruptions from anyone, right? The second tier would be, a guided service. So we get on a call with you, right? Someone who's dedicated in the DAO to do this. We, hear what you want to do. We guide you through the process. Where basically we take you on a little walk, hand by hand, right? So you're not alone in any of these steps. And the third part is, or third tier could be a white glove service. So where it's like, don't worry about it. You give us what you need. We will deliver the finished thing to you, right? And then it comes with different payment tiers also to enable the DAO to generate finally revenue for themselves. And, being able to reinvest in campaigns like the Metopia campaign. So I think there is like there is a good timeline then to start this new campaign and, maybe align it with some of these things being put in place. And there is a bad timeline. So I think honestly, it should not be a question if we do it, but when do we time to do it, in like all honesty. But anyways, also, with what Anupa is doing, we also see much more tractions, right? Even with what we are doing now, like consistently live streaming these meetings, right? That has already a huge impact, more than some people might anticipate. But we are live on 3 of our channels, and we're being live like since the last few months on all of these channels, always at the same time, right? Consistency really matters, also algorithmically speaking. So good for us that we've gotten until here. And Anupa, calling the devil.
The devil is here. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'd like to just add something. I think this is a good time for us to assess what's going on. Also, one thing I've also been doing is reaching out to people individually and trying to figure out some of the use cases that people are talking about. I think it's really good for us to actually see what the DAO is doing and see how we can actually like Stella was saying, cater to what is required. There are people who are building DAO kits. There are people who are investing in, let's say just basic like POAP kind of, events, gaming. So I think even if we can, find use cases that people build through, through this kind of some sort of, analysis, then what CC was talking about, building a use case for paid locks is going to be important, because there will be a requirement for it, and the more awareness and adoption that we do, the better it is, because we just have to circulate and out there. If later on, which is something that I feel, if we could build, and I think I'm really pushing Danny also to come up with mini excerpts of how we can use the protocol, because a lot of people are not really aware of what all is going on. Because there was this guy, he's like, oh, okay, I didn't know there were bounties. I said, yeah, go check out GitHub. So repetition is important for people to understand what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and where is it available. So if we can also create like a small builder fund, because few people are also like developers who come in during the hackathon, so they're probably now waiting for some sort of let's say bounty led or incentive led program. If we can figure out a way of doing it, it would generate more use cases, get the ethos within the building community also going. So yeah, if we can actually find way of doing it. I was actually creating some, I think CC and I spoke about it a while back, like a basic builder program. If that happens, I can share it with everybody up, and Danny can have a look at it in order to see how we can work around that, because that would be awesome as well.
Yeah, really great points. Thanks for bringing that in, Anupa. Appreciate that, and appreciate the work that you're putting into, the outreach and staying in touch with the members of the community and bringing that feedback, back into the Leadership Council and in putting it in front of the DAO. I think is really essential work to be done. It's almost as if you were the membership steward for the Unlock DAO.
yeah and it's just basically like putting ourselves out there, making them see what we're doing. Julian, whenever you have the time, it'll be great to have you on. You make us I know I've stalked you enough, so just keep that on your calendar, please. Because people just want to see that, I think, and just feel that whatever they're building, we're backing them and we're behind them, and which is always the case.
Yeah. I agree. And I also really agree with your point of, you said you were pushing Danny. And I think there's something that maybe we can all help with, but the You Make Us is, I think, doing a great job of drawing attention to these use cases of how you can actually implement Unlock into your own program or community or product. And just showcasing what people have done will help turn on light bulbs for people of what they can do, and that starts kind of a loop of more ideas coming in. So speaking of which, do you want to segue into talking a little bit more about You Make Us? Do you have other updates on that, Anupa, to share?
So in terms of updates, tomorrow we have our next session coming up with Thibaut. He's going to talk about attestations on Unlock. After that, we have Paul Brigner, who's going to be talking about, the creators economy. And then there is another Gwen G2. He's also going to be talking about, his use cases. So it's, I've lined up people. It's very, it's casual conversations that we're bringing up on how, when, why, what is the purpose, what is the impact, and, how Unlock facilitates this project for the purpose of what people are trying to build, if anybody, whoever's listening out there, yes, I think I've sent you the form. Please fill it out. And yeah, we can definitely schedule, the conversation. That's about it. And then, just doing smaller clips. I've been hearing all of you guys over the past 2 weekends. So your voices are buzzing in my head. And then just doing smaller, like excerpts to just bring out the really relevant points. That's what, and just scoping out projects to see what is relevant, if there are any processes within the ecosystem, that's that we can actually implement through this, because it's actually builder focus. The main idea about You Make Us is to get people to invest in Unlock, build on Unlock, and and share their journeys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Discord DM.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like, check out Discord DMs. If you're not friends with Anupa, it might be hidden in there.
I have stalked so many people. They probably think I'm a bot.
And the link to the form is on the regular Discord too, just inside the Unlock Discord, right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll track it down, Will. I'll make sure that you have access to the form so that you can get on the show, because we definitely want to showcase the work that you've been doing. I think this is something that will build into the protocol as a service concept really nicely, because we're building out all of these really well-established use cases of ways that people are building on Unlock. And then that will give people ideas about what value they might get from, the paid service of whatever the membership program is, if it's upgrading Unlock Prime or, whatever we end up calling it. But, if people are going to put money down to get some service from us, they need some idea of what that service looks like. And so having this kind of history of projects that have successfully been built on Unlock, I think will give a good example, for one thing, but also secondly, these projects are all people who could potentially be service providers from the Unlock protocol as a service, right? If you've built something on Unlock and somebody else wants to build something like that, you could probably get paid to show them how to do it and help teach them to do what you did. So that's something to keep in mind as we're fleshing out this idea as a protocol as a service. It's really about members of the DAO who've already learned how to use it, showing other members how to use it, and earning something, for that process, and contributing to the DAO in that way. So let's keep, progressing that concept as we showcase more and more of these projects. Think about how we can integrate the leaders of these projects into the service providing that the DAO can perform later down the road. Yeah, so that's the good updates there. Thank you, Anupa, for sharing that. I'm really glad that the You Make Us is taking off. I think this is something that Unlock has desperately been needing. Lots of people have been building on the protocol, but we just haven't really centralized an effort around showcasing that work. And so I think this is really going to feed. I mean, we're getting lots of attention with Metopia. Lots of people are starting to pay attention to the social media, and now we have this new content coming out that's kind of bringing out what Unlock has been doing, and that's going to really balance nicely with this increased attention that we're getting on our social media. So like CC and Stella were saying, the consistency of doing these things just over and over, and with Anupa consistently putting out this new content showcasing what we're doing. This is all just that cumulative ball rolling down the hill kind of thing. Yeah, Stella.
Yeah, I also just want to give a huge shout out to Gosman for doing extremely awesome work on X for us. And shout out to Jonathan, who's been trying to find his way around TikTok, bringing more attention to our TikTok account and LinkedIn, of course, because, without other people who show up and take care of some of these accounts, it's impossible to do it. So thank you guys, and obviously spearheaded by Stacey, which I never had a doubt would do an amazing job. So thank you guys for all doing this and bringing the attention to Unlock that it does actually deserve, right? So anyways.
Yeah, and I'd like to add one point. Also, the main effort for this is that eventually that we have more people, building on Unlock, and it becomes like an ecosystem that if they create their community on Unlock, it eventually feeds back to the larger community. So it's almost like a waterfall project, a waterfall effect. And then after that, we can have we can streamline proposals, build in our, feature, get in our own governance, system more robust because of more activity and, people being a part of it. So I think that's really important for us to just keep that ethos going,
Absolutely.
Or there is no shame in stalking. That's what I say.
There is no shame in
But I'm
stalking.
proud.
If Anupa taught me anything, then it is that stalking online is totally fine and defendable.
Yeah, look how I found you guys.
Well, that's true.
I think it's far more acceptable to be to be a stalker when you are, a female who is a little bit less maybe predatory and aggressive or something. I don't know. For dudes, it's maybe a little bit more of a gray area. There's like a line that you don't want to cross with internet stalking.
But also, Anupa always had positive intentions, like even hunting down Julian to get him to be on You Make Us, right? It's like it's positive, like it's there is a positive intention behind the stalking. So just
Yeah.
this is how you guys should see it.
Yeah.
Pro social stalking, we'll call it pro community stalking.
Yeah.
Pro community stalking. I love that. That's Anupa.
All right. Well, thanks, Anupa, for bringing the pro community stalking to the Unlock DAO. Is obviously a needed step because you have to just kind of push the buttons to make things run, right? If you don't push buttons in DAOs, things don't get done. So that's the way it goes. But speaking of getting things done, it looks like we've got a couple new people joining in. I think, Cece, do we want to transition over to talking about Cello?
Yeah, sure. So, as you see, we have been also working during this March in a coordination process for a partnership, a three-party partnership, which is a Cello, a really nice chain that is building. There are many people and projects building on Cello, doing a really interesting job on impact, not only reporting but also like a real impact in the world using blockchain and real work on the ground. And then Green Pill with their dev guild that they have built a tool which is called Green Goods. So this partnership is basically summing up all these three forces to show how using Unlock on Celo can make a benefit and strengthen projects as green goods cities. So here we have AFO from Dev Guild who will join us today at the call, talking about a little bit about their work and what this partnership is for them considered to be part of this new work that they are doing during this building process of the application, but also communicating this into the communities and how the people are going to use these tools to make their lives easier as impact carriers that they are. Hello, Apple. Welcome.
Hey, CC, thanks for the intro. Appreciate it. Great to be here. And yeah, talk about the collaboration with Unlock Celo. I think the website you're showing, I think you could refresh it because that's definitely out of date. I don't know, does the refresh work there? I'm not sure.
No, not really. Wait. Let me see. Maybe it will.
There we go.
This the right one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Good.
so if you want to go ahead and even scan the QR code, if you want to try out the app and see the different gardens we have, feel free to. But yeah, I guess there's probably a lot I could say. I guess where do you get? Yeah, what would you like me to kind of cover?
I guess just present yourself and what you guys are building. That's already good.
Okay.
And how Unlock plays a role in all of this.
Yeah. So Green Goods is a impact reporting platform. It's centered around Ethereum attestations and really providing a simple and accessible way for IRL communities, in our context with Green Pill chapters, that are doing different regenerative work across solar, agroforestry, waste management, and education, a platform that they could easily report those activities and then be able to correlate it to capital formation, on-chain capital formation with Octane vaults, hypercerts, and things of that nature. And really, the core goal of Green Goods in this current moment is really connecting impact reporting to capital formation. And I think that image there is a pretty good image that captures the kind of the flywheel we're looking to create with impact and how that gets funded over time. And we recently, this past quarter, we had an Arbitrum grant that we are almost done with, where it's centered around, we integrated hypercerts, Octane vaults, Karma Gap, a lot of features, honestly, and a lot of it thanks to AI and Cloud Code and Codex. And from there, now we really are piloting with our initial set of gardens. So I think if you go to admin.greengoods.app, you can see the gardens there.
Oh wait.
I guess send you the link.
Greengoods.
Yeah.
Dot.
App. Yep. App.
Okay. Wait. Share this tab instead. Is this it?
Yeah. So if you go to the gardens tab, you can see the different gardens. So here you can see we have gardens from all over the world, from Venezuela to Brazil, Nigeria, Fungan, Cape Town, all over. And what's really great is it's giving us a diverse set of pilots, where some of them are doing similar things like waste management. So if you actually go to the actions now, you can see the set of actions that we support across these different domains. So each garden is kind of picking a primary and a secondary domain to focus on. And then from there, tracking their agroforestry work or the waste management work. So you can see all the different actions we have. And then if you were to go to one of the gardens, Tech and Sun in particular,
Which one?
Taz Hub
This one?
on the right. Yes. And if you go to the work tab and then scroll down a little bit, and the UI is getting, this is a vibe coded UI. I'm revamping it. It's going to be like super slick and material design. But right now, yeah. So don't judge me too harshly. And if you look at work submissions, you go to all. You can see all the work that's been done by the Taz Hub. It's setting up this one of our hubs in Anambra at the local university, UNIZEC. And it's basically providing Starlink, internet, and power. And then we're also going to be setting up Ethereum staking within the hub to then incubate, the students and the builders of the community to be able to build even larger infrastructure projects, hopefully, and other initiatives for the community. And you can see what the site looked like before the hub was built.
So cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's like really, a slice of green goods. And I think where Unlock really comes into play is how do we give recognition and reputation, to people as they start using a platform, doing these good actions. And that's where using locks as badges, right? Where we have different locks that represent different things is a very, we feel, powerful way to create like a strong flywheel and incentive mechanism for the gardeners and operators on the platform. So I could pause there. I know we got like Matt on the team that's here. We'd love for him to share any words. And I'm not sure if Nancel's here. But yeah, that's green goods in a nutshell. Hopefully,
Awesome. Thank you. That was a great overview. Very interesting too. I'm excited to see the progress that you've made on this. This is the kind of stuff that gets me excited about being in Web3 and building on blockchains, is seeing people actually, designing it to have impact in the real world, doing things that actually matter. So thank you for sharing that with us and showing how you are integrating Unlock into that. I love Unlock as a reputation tool for this process. Having on-chain reputation, I think, is a massive upgrade. That composable reputation now becomes accessible by anybody to utilize for any services. So it's like it's a verifiable resume of impact and contribution and attribution. And so this is a great showcase of one of the ways that Unlock can be utilized within a community. I see that Stella's got her hand up. Let's see what questions or thoughts she has to share with us about this.
No, I'm just really excited how all of this came together because, last year at Dev Connect, I met Kit Blake, and he was holding, I guess, I don't know, Afo, you correct me. He was holding one of the first presentations about this, right? And
yeah,
was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it was the MVP, right?
It was like the second stage of the MVP. We had like a cold start last year
Yeah.
where we had an arbitrum grant, and then this was the next start. Yeah.
Anyways, and I was like, oh man, couldn't this also work with Unlock, And then we got into talking a little bit more, and eventually we thought, I met the Cello guy, their marketing guy at the Shifa event. And so we said, why not try and connect all of these elements and see if we can make this work, right? So it's been kind of a long process, as DAO things are, right? A little bit unpredictable. But I'm really happy we have arrived here and might be starting soon to share some more things around what Afo and his team are building at Green Pill Dev Guild and Green Goods. And, also doing it with some of the support from the Cello blockchain would obviously be amazing. And already worked on some of the content for that as well. So yeah, really looking forward and also being excited on how much it's great we have vibe coding now. It seems like everything can go so much faster and you can envision MVPs so much faster. But I also think there was a lot of dedication from you guys behind this to drive it to where it is now versus where it was like a few months ago. So thanks for sticking with it, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely reiterate the sentiment about vibe coding, enabling things to go faster. But the one thing that vibe coding doesn't do is enable you to be more organized and like better structured at what you need out of it, right? So in order to use vibe coding to get something good and useful, like you guys seem to have, accomplished already, you have to know what it is you're trying to build to some degree and have some concept of that. You can't just throw a random idea at AI and have it just pump out a perfect functioning solution. It's not going to do that. So for something to be functional, you have to actually kind of know what it is that you want out of it. I do want to be conscientious of time. We have another update from P2E Inferno on the retrospective impact analysis, so I want to make sure we give enough time for that. But I do want to give Anupa and also Maddie or anybody else from the Stella team if they want to. And Stella seems to have something very important to share.
Very important. We also really should take a collective look at the voting platform that Julian has been building. I tried it out. I think we should raise awareness around it and get more people to actually use that, so we can figure out what's missing, what might not be so good, what we have to add, right? So don't forget about this this little instance today. It's important.
Yes, thank you. It is. I did add that to the end of the agenda last minute, and so I want to make sure we get to that as well. So yes, let's make room for all of that. So we'll just try to close out the solo conversation real quick. So I want to give Anupa, if you had a comment you want to jump in, and also give Maddie and the rest of the team a chance just to say something if you want. No pressure if you don't. And then we will get to these next two agenda items.
I think Julian wanted to say something really quick.
I mean, it was about the governance thing. I don't know if you've seen, I mean, that doesn't mean that we're not going to work on the governance, but Pally is going to stick around a bit longer. Apparently some firm, Triple-Lift, I think, or some firm is subsidizing the use. I'm not sure it's going to be forever. We'll see. Scopelift is the name of the company. In any case, I think we should, Claude should keep working on our version of this. I think that's always useful. I did see some of the feedback that you gave. There's already a very maybe bad UX to post proposals on the governance at unlock-protocol.com. Want to make this better. And I saw some of your feedback, Stella. The homepage is one that is still kind of horrible right now. I feel like we should do a much better job. I'm going to look at the progress bar for quorum, stuff like this. But yeah, generally, definitely want to make it better.
But it works. I just want to tell you, it works. I voted on 2 proposals. You made it work. So
I mean,
kudos
that's how
to
I
that.
wouldn't know, right? So I know it works-ish. It's definitely not perfect. But yeah, if you guys could start using it, the fun thing is like we can customize things for us. Like one thing that I was thinking is like we should maybe, I mean, I don't know if we want to put unlock Prime on this one, but like, well, maybe there's features that are only available for Prime users. There's definitely ideas that we can customize. Yeah, exactly. Customize some things more. We put the ENS stuff. I mean, maybe we could say how many locks somebody has deployed when they vote on something. Like, how real are you in the ecosystem? Stuff like that, I think, is always fun. And so give me ideas. Obviously, the last few days have been very busy, but I'm going to do more of the work on that front in the next few days. I also need to look at your issues, KF Media, sorry. It's a bit weird. So if you could send me kind of a screenshot of the errors that you're seeing, that could be useful. Avalanche is having issues right now. I suspect we haven't had enough locks deployed on Avalanche, and then they shut down our subgraph. So I'll have to look at this more closely. But yeah, in TLDR, making progress slowly but surely. That's me. But trust me, I am still making progress.
Good.
Yay, we love progress.
We could even add
Right,
a governance 2.0 function to it. But okay, I will not hold up this meeting. Okay. I will share that in the thread that we have on Discord. Forget about it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of great suggestions coming in about governance stuff. So just to recap real quick, keep everybody on the same page. Sounds like Tally's going to stick around, so we don't have to rush. But Julian is still working on the homebrew governance portal that will be integrated into our official website, which is a great feature to have. I think this is a really good step forward. Having options is always great. So yeah, and keep using it. The link is in the chat. The link is also in the Discord. Check it out, bring feedback, share ideas. There's the thread in Discord is a great place to dump your thoughts. We can start kind of collecting maybe a little bit of a project list of like feature ideas that we maybe want to, try implementing in the future. The more we get going with vibe coding, maybe members of the community can start providing some of the effort to actually, complete the lift on these features. So keep all these things in mind, but let's organize in the Discord since it's not a priority issue right now, just kind of a long-term ongoing thing we have to manage. Yeah, I wanted to touch base real quick just to make sure that Maddie or any of the other Settle team didn't have any final comments before we go to Danny for his P2E Inferno impact analysis. So, moment of silence for the Settle team in case you have anything. No pressure.
No pressure, but also say something.
I'll chime in. I'm from the Green Goods team too. Yeah, the only thing that Afo didn't mention and we didn't see on the screen share was the endowments page. Octane vaults are just such awesome, like just unlocking community-owned financial infrastructure and making it easy for funders to just donate the yield that's being generated. So I think eventually we'll get some additional DeFi strategies in there to kind of get some higher percentages, but yield is being generated. And that's my favorite dopamine hit every day when I look at it and I see the amount of that can be harvested slowly tick up. I love it. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Yes, growing is good. Green Goods is growing. That is good. Thank
Let's
you
grow.
for sharing that. Yeah. All right. Well, great updates. Let's transition now. Sorry, Danny, that we always have you at the tail end. I don't mean to always constrain your time. Maybe we will, next time, let's prioritize getting Danny in earlier because the P2E Inferno is not something to sleep on. This is a really cool project and it's made really great progress. It's been so fun to watch it grow over this last year. So I'm excited to see Danny's impact analysis on how things have gone. If you're available. You're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
That Triggs, yeah. I muted myself. Can you hear me? Thumbs up.
Yes, all good.
All right, because the network out here is pretty terrible. It's been raining in Port Harcourt, so whenever it does rain, network turns to something unimaginable. But I'll try to make this quick. I did prepare a presentation, so this could be quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen.
Danny, let me do that for you, so you don't have to waste your network if you want.
Oh. It's just a PDI.
Okay. It's
but if
work.
it gets
Okay,
too bad,
go ahead.
yeah. So you guys can see this.
Yes.
All right. So the purpose, I'm just gonna try to speed run through it. The purpose of the grant was to deepen Unlock Protocol's role in P2E Inferno gamified education. And the grant really aimed to integrate Unlock Protocol within P2E Inferno, which is a pioneering frontier technology educational initiative by enhancing access control, implementing milestone-based progression and certifications. So the goal was to strategically integrate Unlocks such that it increases visibility for Unlock and participation by aligning P2E Inferno's success with practical outcomes for Unlock. So things like user discovery, onboarding, engagement, as well as protocol activities. So what was delivered during the grant period, we have a request access. So those are completely powered by Unlock, from like access to the boot camps and the quests and the certifications. We have completion badges and enforcement of prerequisite, which is really a big part of how the platform works, because you don't want people jumping over steps to do things that they're not prepared for or what they aren't ready for because they see a huge reward. So you want to have them go through the steps chronologically so that they'll be like informed, educated on what they need to know before moving on, regardless of rewards. So we also have like a fiat to key onboarding. It's more or less a dual onboarding rails for payments, where we have the native crypto payments and like a fiat integrated system with Paystack, where local users that are not crypto natives can pay with Naira fiat. But this is basically a template for integrating other types of fiat systems, because we also have links with East African countries like Rwanda and Kenya, some programs, and so we'll be integrating other mobile money systems using this model. And we also have membership integration, which allows for, you know, recurring subscriptions. And there's some more exciting part, because this is more or less for activity around the token. So beyond just the access and gating functionality, there's integrations that involve token, and that's what the vendor market integration does. And Unlock is also integrated deeply in the learning flows. So we have learning quests and modules that actually have people deploy blocks. That is that they eventually and they aha moment. I could use this for my business, because I actually charge in like US.
Okay, I will be the one to interrupt this. Danny, like you come across like a robot. I think raining mode has been taking over your presentation. Bye, Julian. Thanks for joining.
What like I'm not letting it sit?
No,
Yeah, we can't understand you. Sorry, buddy. Your audio is just all tinned out.
yeah.
Oh, so that
Maybe
I should having you do it.
Yeah, maybe we can put this on the agenda for next week and have either Stella or myself run the slideshow, so you don't have to do both.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can try like turning all of our cameras off or whatever, because it looks like you've got a really great update. So far, it's been really interesting, and I would love to take the time to like dig into the rest of it and not rush you. And also so that everyone can actually hear what you're saying, because I think that this is a really great update. This is exactly what we've been talking about all call. These are the kinds of things that we want to showcase, to show people what you can do with Unlock, and you've done a lot of amazing work. So if you don't mind, maybe we can bump this to next week. We'll put it up a little bit higher on the agenda list, and we'll get somebody else screen sharing so that we can actually hear you with some better clarity, hopefully. How does that sound?
Well, sounds good to me, because I've been having a hard time all call trying to hear you guys. It kept like breaking in and out. So
Okay.
Do it like this is exactly how I would like to go. So cool.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, let's make a better plan for next week. We'll get somebody else screen sharing, and like I said, let's try turning our cameras all off next time when Danny's doing his presentation. See if it saves a little bandwidth for him to be able to actually come through more clearly for us all. So yeah, we'll do that. So stay tuned for next week to get more updates on P2E Inferno, amazing project that has all kinds of really interesting Unlock integrations. So super looking forward to digging into this a little bit more. And yeah, it looks like lots of conversation happening in the chat. People are getting connected with some follow-up action items, so that's great. I always love to see that happening. Any other closing comments from the Steward Council or community members before we take off? Stella, yeah, you got your hand up.
No, I just wanted to quickly say that I'm so happy how things are unfolding in Unlock DAO. Just wanted to say, like everything else seems to be breaking down. Yeah, I love you guys too, you know that. And we're just swimming against the tide, right? And we're doing so with success, and especially happy for what Stacey put together. So it can also be for once being like seen in numbers, right? In hard facts and numbers, because it's not just us imagining things are on an up. It actually is on an up. And I don't know, just wanted to say I'm super happy about that's all. All good. Stacey.
Yeah, yeah, really excited. I think really the protocol has grown very much. I don't know, like since I joined in 2024, and seeing evolving during all this time, and all the things that we have been through. It's rewarding to see this, and hopefully also rewarding to the people to know that there is a protocol that you can join in, you can learn about DAOs, learn about Web3, and become part of a much bigger community, and continue contributing, um, start building your own, not only reputation, but also a possible Web3 career, for example. So that's also a way of a DAO and a protocol that can give access people to start new career paths too. So I think that's one of our biggest goals that we are closer and closer to achieve. And hopefully with you, we will be able to do that too. So thank you everyone for joining, and see you on the next call.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.